What's up, guys? Bandwagon Sports, Aiden, episode 3 of the Bandwagon Sports podcast. This episode is going to be short, going to be sweet, talking about the teams that I am most intrigued by and the teams that I am the most curious about in this upcoming season. The ones I'm going to be tuning in to almost every game, watching to see if they what they do and how they try to how they try to win games. The team I'm honestly the most excited to watch and the most intrigued by in this entire list that I have is Texas. Okay. Texas last year, coming in, Quinn Ewers, hot, started out the season pretty good, and then lost, I think it was 3 games in a row. Again, Quinn Ewers last year, first year in the system, new head coach. He's basically a freshman quarterback, still making freshman type plays. And this season, I'm excited to watch his development in this system and in the program, because last year I was extremely high on Texas, and I am this year too, because they added a lot of talent through the portal. Biggest guy, in my opinion, is Adonai Mitchell coming over from Georgia. In my opinion, Adonai Mitchell is the best receiver behind Marvin Harrison in college football right now. His stats may not show it because he didn't play a whole lot last season because he was hurt. But last season, or not over Adonai Mitchell's whole career, he has been nothing but clutch and nothing but amazing in big time moments. Texas playing in the Big 12. Big 12, in my opinion, is one of the most loaded conferences. They're all, in terms of skill, right there with each other, no matter what the records say. All of their skill, the Big 12, in my opinion, is the second best conference in all of college football. There are 6-7 teams that I think are worthy of a top 25 spot in the preseason poll, because I think that's how good this conference is, and I think that's how good Texas will be, because especially for Steve Sarkisian, he needs to take this team. They need to win a minimum 10-11 games this year for his job for him not to be on the hot seat. They need to win games, and he needs to put it together in this program. And I'm fully looking forward, and I'm fully expecting him to win 10 or more games this season. One of the biggest recruits in college football this year, Arch Manning, commits to Texas. Going to be sitting behind Quinn Ewers for a year, maybe 2, while Quinn Ewers develops himself. And then Arch Manning is coming in, and he's going to be the starter for Texas after sitting behind, in my opinion, a great quarterback in Quinn Ewers. And he's going to be good in the system. He's going to know the system really well. And he's going to be able to fit in right after Quinn Ewers. I am really excited to see the future of this Texas team and to see where Texas ends up at the end of this season. All right, and the next team I am excited for is Penn State. Much like Texas, I was very, very high on Penn State last year. And they did not disappoint me last year. They won the Rose Bowl, beat Utah by 2 possessions. the only way that they disappointed me last year was dropping that Ohio State game. That Ohio State game was in their hands up until the last couple minutes of the game when they had a couple costly turnovers that absolutely ruined their season. It ruined their playoff hopes. It ruined their Big Ten championship hopes. That Ohio State game was what ruined everything. But this season, Drew Aller sat last year behind Sean Clifford. He knew that he wasn't. If I'm Drew Aller, I know that I'm not starting over Sean Clifford last year. But this year, it's Drew Aller's team. Drew Aller, 5-star quarterback, great prospect. This is Drew Aller's team, and he has the keys to this car. The offense last year, pretty okay. A lot of there's a thing that people say, the Sean Clifford experience, and you can see that when you're watching those games, and in the offense, you can see the Sean Clifford experience at its finest when you watch the games, because there are some games where he looks like a Heisman contender. He looks like one of the best players in college football, and there are some games, there are sometimes, it could even be in the same game, where, again, he looks like a Heisman contender. He looks like one of the best players in college football. But then, it happened in the Ohio State game. First half, from the start of the game to 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Sean Clifford looked like a Heisman Trophy finalist. He looked like one of the best players in college football. And in that last 10 minutes, he pooped the bed. And he absolutely sucked. He looked like one of the worst players in college football. So again, with that gone, with those mental errors and Sean Clifford out, I believe this Penn State team will go as far as Drew Aller can take them. They've had decent quarterback play these past couple years. Sean Clifford, Trace McSorley, you can say what you want about them now, but they were good. They were good players at Penn State. But now you have 5-star Drew Aller coming in. He is going to be a key part of this team and how well they do. He's going to be a key part, and I believe he will take this Penn State team to at least 12 wins. And when the playoff expands, not this season but next season, I fully expect Penn State to be in the playoffs and making some good runs, because this team is a good team. They just need certain pieces, and they needed Sean Clifford out of there. They've had him for 5-6 years. He's been starting for 3 or 4. It's this Penn State team is going to be lethal next season. Mark it down today. Mark my words. They are going to be really good. Okay? And then the next team, now we are heading over to the SEC, and we're going to talk about South Carolina. South Carolina, a team last year who honestly surprised me. They were, despite being, they were like 2-3 at some point, or something like that, maybe 1-3. Despite that, South Carolina finished 8-5 and in the top 25 in all of college football. They finished ranked, and they played a great bowl game against Notre Dame. That was a fun game to watch. It was tons of offense, no defense being played, but it was a fun game. I fully expected them to suck last year. I didn't expect them to win more than 5, 6, 7 games. They exceeded my personal expectations. But this year, I have them winning 9 football games. 9 games, maybe even 10 if Spencer Rattler, a lot like the quarterback I was just talking about, Sean Clifford. They are very similar in how they play. Sometimes sometimes Spencer Rattler looks like he should be in Heisman contention. And sometimes he looks like one of the worst players, one of the worst starting quarterbacks in college football. Spencer Rattler he will take them as far as he can, and that will be as far as this team makes it. Because Spencer Rattler, if he plays like butt, then the team's record is going to be butt. But if he can win games, if he can be good in situations when he needs to be good, and he doesn't try to do too much, Spencer Rattler will bring his name back into draft talks, and South Carolina will win 8, 9, 10 games this season if Spencer Rattler plays like he can. If Spencer Rattler plays like he can. I love their defense. I love what Shane Beamer's doing over there. Beamer ball. Love Shane Beamer. Just as a person, as a dude. Love him. And I'm extremely excited to see what this team can do. And the last team we are going to talk about is Alabama. Alabama, just looking back on an episode we saw, or a couple episodes back, Alabama has the second best betting odds to win the national championship in the entire country. The second best. The only reason that Alabama won the 11 games that they did last year, the only reason they won those games is Bryce Young and Bryce Young alone. Their defense, it was pretty good. Alabama's defense is always pretty good. One of the best defenses in college football. I'm not taking that away from them. However, their offense was not good. Their offense was atrocious. The points might not say that, but when you watch those games, Alabama played like their offense was horrible. And LSU, a perfect example, LSU's defense is not good. Not good at all. Alabama scored 30 points against that team. When their defense is terrible, Alabama's offense is not, for the past 2 years, 3 years, has not been good and has not been where Alabama is used to being when it comes to offensive firepower. There are a couple players, Dallas Turner, Kool-Aid McKinstry, who I love on their defense. There are some good, solid dudes on their defense. And Jermaine Burton, I love him as a receiver. I love him as a player. But he's not Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, Jameson Williams, John Mechie. He's not those guys. And Alabama does not have a for sure QB1 right now. There is not a single player on Alabama's roster who I am confident right now in this very moment saying, that's my starter. If I'm Nick Saban, I am worried about this offense and it not being able to keep up with the other offenses in the SEC, in the country. The way college football is going, you need offense and you need firepower. Defense is becoming very scarce, which is why I love Georgia teams, because their defenses are always amazing, but defense is becoming very scarce in this game. Alabama has a good defense, but their offense is very lackluster when they need to be. When they don't need to be good, they light up the game. They score 50, 60, 70 points a game. But when Alabama needs to be good and needs to have good offense, saw it in the LSU game, in the Tennessee game. Maybe not the Tennessee game, because the Tennessee game, they were back and forth the entire game. But the LSU game, their offense was not good when it needed to be. They needed that game. They needed their offense to be better than it was, and it was not good. And also the Texas game. Texas A&M, Ole Miss, LSU, those are 4 games that without Bryce Young, this team is not winning. This team is not winning. There are not any receivers who I am on this team looking at and saying, he's going to go get me 100 yards, a touchdown a game. Like you would say with Devonta Smith, Jameson Williams, John Mechie, Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy. Oh, who am I forgetting? It doesn't matter. These teams that they were in close games with last year, Texas A&M was one of the worst teams in the country. They had the number 1 recruiting class and didn't make a bowl game, but they beat them by only 4. They scored 24 points against a horrible Texas A&M team. Horrible. And you expect me to believe that without the best player, the best quarterback that Alabama has seen come through this program, that this team's going to be any good this season? I cannot see Alabama being not any good. I still believe they are going to maintain Alabama standards. 10, 11 games, they're going to win. But they're not going to compete for an SEC championship. That, in my opinion, that's LSU already. LSU is my number 1 in the West right now. And in my opinion, it's not close. But LSU is my number 1 in the West. And Alabama, I hope that they are good, and I hope for college football's sake that they contend for something. But right now, I don't see that. They are a prove-it-to-me team for me. They're a prove-it-to-me team that I'm looking at this team, and just like I said, I'm looking at them, I'm saying, prove it to me. Prove to me that you are going to win more than 10 games. Prove to me that your offense isn't bad. Prove to me that your defense is good. There's a whole lot of factors going into it. Don't have a quarterback, don't have good receivers like they used to. Alabama is, I hope that they are good, but I do not think that they are going to be as good as what some people are betting that they are going to be. That's it for the episode. Hope you guys enjoy. Let us know. A website should be coming out soon. Gonna have a bunch of stuff on it. let us know ideas and things you want to hear about in the comments. Also, go follow our Instagram at Bandwagon Sports _underscore CFB to get daily updates, know when we post, stuff like that. I will see you guys in the next one.